Record. Hello and welcome to IQ session number 52.
That's one full year of IQ session one those, which is pretty cool. That means that we have educated you guys for a year.
How good's that?
Actually, only 52 days, but that's okay too.
Lots over of gold a year nuggets. Because we had 2 weeks of Christmas. Did we do it? No, we didn't do it through Christmas. No, anyway, that's irrelevant. We're here today to talk about winning the day back. Well, Matt is, and I'll chime in with some moments of brilliance every now and then too.
Some metaphors that are like nothing.
Oh, I've got some good metaphors. I will write a book, don't you worry, with metaphors.
Yep. It'll be a picture book. No, today is all about winning the day back. And it's a really cool analogy to take, because you hear the term own the day, or seize the opportunity, or seize the day, and that's
carpe diem. Seize the day.
Carpe diem. There you go. But you hear that too often. It says really take control of the day and own it. The reality is though that that's okay. It's a good way to start your day, is to own it, which is really cool. But what we want you guys to take from tonight is, how do you take back the day so that you win better than you won the day before? It's kind of like when you do a boot camp with us. All we ask you to ever do is to do 1 rep more than you did in the last session, because that's progression. That's a compounding effort of change and strength and growth. So your day works the same way as that. So what today is all about is, how do you take back the day so that you end the day stronger than when you started the day? And so there's some really good gold nuggets coming your way, of course, if I don't mind to myself saying so. But what we can all be pretty sure on is that a day in itself is really, really powerful. And if you really think about it, that so much can happen in a 24-hour period. Someone can save someone's life in that day, which is huge, right? That's a powerful day. That's a change, it's a shift. A natural disaster can occur. We can have inventions are created. There's all these things that are done on such a big scope that can happen in the space of a day, where it can change the outcome of the day. So it gives you this pinnacle moment of achievement, so to speak. So the day itself is very powerful. However, a lot of us don't use it the right way. We use it to get through. We tick a few boxes. We get up, we go to work, we come home, we eat.
We get into habit, really, don't we? Like, we just in the rut.
Yep. And it's kind of the majority of the world thinks that it's okay. And we've spoken about this before quite regularly. We've found that we notice that some relationships with people they're just okay with their relationship, because their mum and dad have an okay relationship, and their friends, mum and dads have okay relationships, and their friends have okay relationships, and they don't really think past okay. They own the day for what the day is, which is, I go to work, I come home, I sit down with my family, I eat dinner. I repeat that Monday to Friday. I have a few beers on a Friday night. I hang out with them on the weekend. I drink way too much on a Saturday, ruin my Sunday, and I repeat that for the next 40 years of my life. Yeah. And that's okay, because that's what society is. That's what most people do. So we want people to live a bigger life and a more passionate life, I suppose, depending on where you are in your life, but to strive for more. And that means you need to take back the day and get control of the day, not let the day take control of you. And so what we want to do in that regard is teach you guys just how you do that. So when you start each morning, the best way to look at this is, you're behind on the scoreboard. So when you wake up, you're losing a game, because all you've done for the day is you've woken up. So say we're 10 minutes into we're woken up, got a bit of a wander around, maybe we're making a coffee, maybe we're getting ourselves ready. But reality is, from a purpose-filled, driven day, you're behind on the scoreboard, because that's not really productive. It's just tasks that need to get done. It's not tasks that make you a better person. It's just tasks that are going to be done regardless of if your day is an amazing day or not. So you're really behind on the scoreboard before you even go. So 10 minutes behind, you're losing the game straight off the bat. Okay, sounds pretty rough, but this is how the day starts. And if you learn to love that and go, right, I'm losing the game, I need to come from behind victory to make sure I end my day better than I start this day, which is right now, it's pretty lackluster. I'm just ticking off a few boxes. Okay, so we're going to look at this, because when you get up and you rip into your day, you have compounding efforts are always rewarded. So we're looking for you to be able to own the day by creating these amazing moments, so that you're rewarded on a compounding effort over the next few years. Do you have anything to add in this
Nope,
section? You're cool. Awesome.
Trust me, I will add in when I'm.
Yep.
I will not hesitate.
I know you won't. Okay, cool. You'll probably cut me off, but that's all right. Being behind on the scoreboard, I've written it down here, doesn't mean you have to be sad or sulk, be lonely, have a pity party, woe is me, all that sort of stuff there. Being behind on the scoreboard means you could have had a bad day yesterday, and it doesn't mean that it rolls over to today, if that makes sense. So every time you start your new day, the scoreboard is where it's at. It's in a deficit, and we need to change the outcome of the day. We don't let yesterday roll into today. So that's what we want to make sure we don't let happen, because all that is we need to acknowledge that a day is powerful, and a day doesn't have to be determined by the day before, doesn't have to roll in. Be it a good day or a bad day, it doesn't need to roll. The next day is a new day for new challenges, new everything for you to really thrive on. Because the moment you understand how powerful one day is, it allows you to understand just how powerful 1 week can be, 1 month can be, 1 year can be. If all these compounded days are measured up over the period of a year, imagine how they go in the period of a decade. So much stuff can happen in that period when we know that one day can shift the outcome so dramatically that you can imagine how amazing that could be in the period of a lifetime if it's taken seriously. But most people take it half-assed. And
you look at the flip side and we're like already at April for the year.
Yeah.
Look how quickly that goes. And if we're just coasting and taking it as it comes, we've already lost like 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty scary, like what Sheridan said there, if you think about that, to know that we're literally been through the first quarter of the year is gone. Like done burgers. So it's pretty scary. If you haven't done anything, it's alarm bell time, because the cool part is there's 3 more quarters to change the outcome of this calendar year. So all it means is that you can start the day right tomorrow and change again. So as long as tomorrow's better than today, you're winning all the time. Okay. So you need to wake up knowing, I just got to read what I've written here because I've written it really blurry and I can't skim ahead really quickly. What we need to focus on basically is winning the day back. And so what you'll do then is you're going to start at the end of the day. Okay. At the same place. Sorry. You're going to go to what the outcome is for the end of the day that you want to achieve. So before you go to bed at night, you want to go, cool, this is how I ended my day. How do I want tomorrow to end? So that's a question you need to ask yourself. What do I want to achieve in the day tomorrow? And then you go through that process of going, cool, I want to make sure that I spend it could be something as simple as I want to make sure that I spend quality time with my kids. And that I didn't do any of that today. And that would enrich the quality of my life. I want to make sure that while I'm at work, I make sure I get through all my tasks, I get through all that sort of stuff so that when I get home, I can be present and I'm not thinking about work. I'm not dragging work home with me, you know, and you approach it that way. So basically, we're looking to say that winning the day back is a great way to prevent yourself from becoming complacent. Okay, because complacency, is a rough word. It's a toxic thing to get into your life because it's so easy to do. I know for a fact that most people through the start of COVID last year signed up to Netflix, or maybe they added on Stan or Disney Plus.
We had all three: Disney Plus, Stan, and Netflix.
And we justified that it was okay because of the current situation, right? That's complacency. That's not striving to be better. And we could justify that, but we were busy and we did this sort of stuff and we've been doing this and our business was taken from us and, or we could have had a pity party and we could have done that. But instead, what we did is we got complacent. Well, initially we got complacent. Like, we'll watch some Netflix.
We got Disney Plus.
Yeah. So we went down that road of being complacent when we should have said, okay, cool. What a great time to step up. What a great time to make sure our productivity is so much higher because our time has been gifted back to us. So initially when we first started COVID, we were very complacent and we weren't very productive, I would say. Would you say that's fair?
We were productive to a point because we created FBFM at home, but we definitely didn't try and push and go the extra mile and really take carpe diem. We didn't seize the day and use every minute. Yeah,
exactly. And the question to ask I wrote down here is how many people do you know that are just repeating the same day over? And they're constantly frustrated, they're bored, they're agitated, they're just grumpy and they're not happy. And you see it every day. You see them come home, sit on the couch and just go and just veg out. If you're anything we know heaps of people that are like that. And, we will go through phases where we are like that and that's okay. But what we're teaching you guys tonight is how do you win back that day, okay?
Yep.
We want you to understand we can only live one day at a time, okay? This is where it gets cool. You can only get one day at a time, and which means that you can only. Do you want to shut that door, please?
Yeah, yep. I'll sort the dogs out.
Thank you.
Can I just also interrupt and say this is water, not a beer?
But more or less, you need to make sure that you know that tomorrow is always a gift, and it comes down to understanding that tomorrow is not guaranteed, if that's the best way to put it. So if you've got this goal of achieving such and such in your lifetime, and tomorrow is never guaranteed, because it isn't, because stuff can happen. We just don't know what could change our lives and all that sort of stuff. Our life could suddenly be taken, all that sort of stuff there. It's a bit of a grim thing to think about. However, if you knew that you live fully and you live with the purpose of taking back the day, taking ownership of the day, and making sure that at the end of the day, it was better than the day before because of the productivity that you put towards it, regardless of if you have a job or not. It doesn't really matter. Everyone's life is different. However, if it was lived passionately and it was lived fulfilled and it was lived charging and you're excited and stuff like that, then obviously the end outcome of that day is always going to be fulfilled. So regardless of if your day tomorrow was your last day, you've still lived fully to this moment. However, if you've only coasted by and you have had a complacent life and that tombstone goes up on your grave and all it can say on your grave was, beloved such and such of such and such, and that's all that it is, are you happy with what that is about to say? And I've never been happy about that when that question was posed to me, what would my tombstone say? It's a bit of a gloomy kind of topic to think about. But if you do think about it properly, what do you want your tombstone to say? Do you want it to be just a blasé one like most other ones in the cemetery, or do you want it to be an amazing one that inspires someone that happens to read it one day and go, wow, that person really lived? Like, that's someone who really made the most that carpe diem, that they actually did that. They took back each day and owned it, which is really cool. So tomorrow is always a gift. You need to be really aware of that. It's not guaranteed. It's not a right to have all the days for the rest of till you're 100 years old. It's just, you just don't know what could actually happen, which is cool. So I'm going to teach you right now. There's 6 things we're going to go through that are going to be for you to be able to take back the day. Okay, so the end outcome of this is to make sure that your day ends better than yesterday. That's all you have to do. And it doesn't matter if it's not, because I'm going to teach you a little bit about that in here. First one here, you have to get an early start done on your day. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be up at 3 a.m. You have to be doing all that sort of stuff there. No, what it means is when you start your day, you have to be smashing it so that come lunchtime, most of your day is chopped out. The big task that you want to get your focus is achieved by midday, so that the end of the day is going to end strong regardless of what happens, because it peaked early, and get it done. So smash your list out early. Get those big things off the list early, so come lunchtime, everything else is a bonus.
It's kind of like come out of the gates racing, yeah?
100%.
Like go foot to the floor to start with,
and
then the rest of the day will tether out.
Exactly right. And you just hang in there for the rest of the day and watch what happens. Because once you got those tasks out of the way, instead of drawing them out over the period of a whole day, what happens is life gets in the way if you do that. So if you go at it full foot to the floor, balls to the wall, whatever you want to say, your version of whatever you want to do, what's your analogy? But
you're not going to co-write my metaphor book, by the way.
But basically what we're saying, if you attack it aggressively early and not wait for the day to get in the way, it doesn't matter how the day gets in the way, because it was peaked out early, then the day can get in the way because it still ends better because those outcomes were achieved early. But you have to start earlier, which means that when you get to work, if you are working, put your foot down and get it done. Be at work. Don't be elsewhere. Don't be with your family in your head. Don't be doing all those things. You're in a job for a reason, to be present and to enrich that company's life. If it's your own company, then be present. Don't be thinking about everything else. Be in the moment for your employees, for your members, whatever you've got going. So make sure that is the priority, so that your productivity is huge. at the beginning of the day so that by the end of the day, it's enriched even more, regardless of what happens.
This is one of the reasons why I love exercising in the morning too, because it's almost like there's a weight off your shoulders. There's no burden on you that you've still got to get your workout done. There's nothing worse than like getting home late at night, like what are we, nearly 8 o'clock, and going, shit, I still haven't worked out and I've still got to add that in. So by ticking it off in the morning, it's literally like this burden and this weight off your shoulders because it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
Box ticked. I like being productive in the morning.
But the other thing is too, if you don't like mornings, that's okay, right? This is just an example.
It's the start of your day, isn't it?
Exactly right. Because if you do night shift, it's regardless, morning's irrelevant to you because of your day is different. So the start of your day, rip into it for the first 6 hours of that day, of your whatever that time is, and get stuff done in that first 6 hours. You've got to make it productive. You can't be checking Facebook. You can't be on Instagram. You've got to put that stuff aside. Turn your phone off. Your phone will cope. People will find a way to get in touch with you if they need to get in touch with you. But be present and push really hard for those first 6 hours. And you watch what happens. Your productivity, your purpose, and everything for that day will always be enriched. You're starting to take back your day because you're owning it from the get-go. Foot to the floor, balls to the wall, whatever you want to say. Number 2, learn a new skill every day. Ooh. Take the time to learn something new that enriches your skill set. Not, I want to learn how to blow bubbles up my nose with something. Not like that. I'm talking be focused on finding something for you that enriches you to become a better version of yourself, to take back the day. So if you're a salesperson and that's your job, you want to learn how to be a better salesperson. Don't assume you know everything. I'm a personal trainer. I need to ensure that I'm always striving to be a better personal trainer, a more knowledgeable personal trainer. I can't just go, oh, I have a gym. I'm the head trainer. I know all. Go me. That's not enough. I have to constantly be looking, constantly watching, looking what other people are doing. Why are they doing it? Questioning it, diving into it, seeking the knowledge so that I make sure that I'm at the top of my game. So that if someone one day comes to me and says, I have a challenge, I'm in a position where I could answer that question or be smart enough to go find out the answer for that person. And they may force upon me a question I don't know the answer to. So the new thing I'm about to learn may be gifted to me from someone else so that I can go enrich it. Take the time to learn a new skill because there's an amazing thing that happens when you do that. There's a great story Jim Rohn tells at one time. He said that one of his friends used to earn $1 million a year because he could speak Chinese, and he could speak Chinese, and he was paid $1 million. And so Jim Rohn said to me, he goes, oh, what are you doing? What's the plan for this year? He goes, I might go earn another $1 million. I'm going to learn Italian. Because what he learned was by learning a new language in his field, by knowing multiple languages, was he was the person they came to when they wanted to not invade, but enter a new country. Yeah. And they would need someone that knew the company, loved the company, and was able to speak the language. He was then sought, which meant that he could then dictate how much money he earned. So his theory was, if I learn a new language, I can charge another $1 million for my salary. See, that's learning a new skill that benefits that person's passion and purpose for life. I can't remember what his job was or anything like that. But learn something new every day.
How big does that have to be?
Doesn't have to be huge.
Have to be huge. It could just be reading a personal development book.
Yeah, great point. Sheridan just said that it doesn't have to be huge. It could be just reading a book, a paragraph a day, because you'll take something out of that paragraph. You may listen to an audio if you don't like to read. But what I do suggest you do, if you don't like to read, you don't like to listen to audios, you need to suck it up and start doing those two things. Because that's where the education comes from. It doesn't come from a Harry Potter book, unfortunately. I'm sorry. What it does come from is something that's designed by people teaching new skill sets to deal with the stuff that goes on in our head. Because that complacency that we talked about before is just compounding averageness that everyone does because they don't pick up the books and they don't listen to the audios and they don't tune into the YouTubes and the educational seminars and things like that. They settle for average because they just think that's what life is, an average day. But we don't want that for you guys. We want you guys to take back the day, own it. So first of all, you need to get an early start into your day, regardless of when that is. You need to rip into it, achieve most of your outcomes by 6 hours into your day. Then you want to take the opportunity to learn something new every day, a new skill set, a new fundamental that's going to make you a better person. And compound that every day. Remember, if you did a new skill every day, you could imagine how you're going to be after 365 new skills at the end of the year, how much better you're going to be in 1 year's time. How much better are you going to be in 10 years' time, in your lifetime, if you took the time to learn something new that enriches your life, not something that benefits your partner's life all the time. It's for you to make sure that you're the best version of you. So number one, get an early start. Number two, learn something new. Number three, this one's a bit different. It says sometimes days get by you. And this one is you need to acknowledge that sometimes it'll just be a curly day that just rips you a new one, and you're just going to be sitting there going, what the hell just happened? Doesn't matter. New freckle. It doesn't matter what you do. It just seems to get away. It just snowballs against you. It's just working. It's challenging you. And you just cannot seem to get on top of this day. All you can do in this moment is acknowledge that it's a shit day. That's the easiest way to do. Get to the end of that day. Reflect on that day. Learn from that day. And then make sure that the next day is better. I'm
going to challenge you on that. And I'm going to say, don't acknowledge that it's a shit day. Acknowledge that it's a day of learning.
Even better.
Rather than putting a negative connotation to it, change it to a day of learning.
Yep. Easy. If you're motivated by negative, you can do the negative one. So whatever works
I'm
for you.
Clearly
Carrot or
motivated
stick.
by the positive.
Okay. So there is that's a great example actually, because we're very motivated differently. Sheridan and I, she likes positivity words, she likes reinforcement, she likes that stuff there. So she would reword it in that way. I would be reworded by the other way, saying, that's a shit day. You deserve better. You're going to do better tomorrow. So I am inspired by that.
What motivates you to do better the next day? Yep. Is it getting down in the dumps? That's not going to help me, but if it'll piss Matt off enough to fuel him to do better the next day.
Yep. So you need to learn from the day. You need to reflect on. So you reflect on the day, acknowledge where it went wrong, what happened. Then you don't dwell on it. You move forward and you go, cool, how do I ensure that doesn't happen again? Yeah. So we create a new strategy, a system, a task that you could do. Example, it could be, let's say, work throws you a spanner and you're not working, and all of a sudden they call you in and you have to go in, but you've got to pick up your kids from school and you've got all the stuff that just does not get done because work called you in. So it just upsets the day. So already your mood shifted. Then your kids are affected by it because you're rushed and you're flustered and you're trying to work everything out and do all this sort of stuff there. So what you would do at the end of that day and go, okay, cool. That was not fair on my kids for me to be that way in front of them. Work is work. It's going to want you to come in sometimes. It's going to want you to stay a bit longer sometimes. That's just part of the deal. You sign up for it. That sometimes they're going to ask you to step up. Sometimes you're going to have to step up, and that's okay. But what it should never do is never affect your family because you're having a flustered day because of work. So you have to have a strategy to ensure that when you enter your home, you have to be clear-minded and excited that the people on the other side of that door love you unconditionally. They support you. They are going to be on your side.
I think a great tool for this is as well that we can't expect for life to always go as planned. Life is not something that you can plan to a T. We can have a good idea for what we want to get done. And of course we can tick them off, but we can't control life. So if you're a control freak, you need to find other things to control. Yeah. What you can control is your mindset towards it all and how you respond. That's how you can control it, not by the sun is going to rise at this time. It's going to be this degree. It's, that kind of stuff. So you have control over you and only you. You don't have control over your kids. You don't have control over the weather, but you have control how you choose to respond to it.
Like that. Good. Well done.
Didn't even use a metaphor.
Phew.
All right, come on. You're talking a lot. Let's go.
That's what we're here to do. Educate.
Let's go.
Number 4, we've got backward planning. Okay, so what that means is, this is something you really got to focus on, is start with the end in mind. So I'm going to share a bit of example about FBFM. The end result for FBFM is we own the next premise that we buy. We'll buy the next premise, of the new place of FBFM. That membership base will have a capped out membership of 400 members. If I come back again, it will have classes, it will have employed trainers, it will have, and we keep coming back like this to make this happen. End result is a fully booked out studio that we own, that we can say when the 401st person comes in to want to join the gym, we say, I'm so sorry, we have a wait list, we are full, we're at max capacity. That's our goal from the end. That's the end outcome for FBFM. Currently, we are not there. This is current day. This is end result. So our steps in place come back like this to the current day. So you can do that from a day-to-day basis, but if you've got a big term goal, then your day-to-day goals are working towards that end result. That's how you stay focused and purposeful. That's how we get up and go, cool, we're after 400 members that we can have in our gym so that we can keep our culture. We've got the reason, we know what we're doing. It's the reason we get up at 4:30 in the morning to get ready to be there for a 5:30 start. It's the reason we do it with a smile every day. We realize that we need an hour to make sure that we're awake, fully and present, so that when we walk in that door, the people are greeted with energy. That's the whole purpose of it. We don't go, oh my God, I've got to get up at 4:30. It's like we get up at 4:30 because we're excited because our goal is here and we're working towards this goal. To ensure that we enjoy the process, we need to know the steps and come backwards. Okay. So you need to start with the end result in mind and then work your way backwards.
I think to make it a bit more relevant is if you're wanting to build a house, you need to know what the house is going to look like, so then you can then build it from there. So you start off with the end result, you get the plans drawn up, you get images of it, then you work your way back from there. And then it comes all the way back to starting off with what do the foundations need to be. You don't start off with the foundations and then go, let's chuck some bricks together and see what we get. You start with the end goal in mind.
Exactly right. It's a house. So backwards planning, that's called. So you got to go forward to come backwards. And then come backwards from there. And then that's what you're working forward towards, so that you, by the end result, each day is designed to be better than the yesterday to get you to the end result. Compound those days over time and you'll achieve that end result. That's the purpose of backwards planning. Number 5, you need to be ready for the highs and lows, because they come regardless if you want them or not. Sometimes life just works in your favor. Sometimes it just throws you rubbish that you do not want. It's terrible. It can come out of nowhere. You can be not expecting it. And you just have to embrace them because they're just part of the deal. You don't get a say in it. It's just, sometimes it's just a really terrible thing to be. You need to be aware for 10 minutes. You need to make sure that you're hungry and that you're always looking to not let the day slip away from you because it's a curly day. So you need to acknowledge it really quickly and go, cool, this is a curly day. Kind of like what we were talking about before. Sometimes the days get by you, but this is kind of be ready that they're coming. And what do you have in place to ensure that when they do come, you're not freaking out. You just know that, all right, this is one of those times where it's a bit of a tough time. COVID's a great example for that because we weren't expecting to have our door shut on us. And that's a low time for us, right? That's not a great time. Prior to that, everything was going really great. Last 5, 6, 7 years sort of thing. Amazing. COVID comes and it's outside our control, nothing to do with what we did. All of a sudden, government says, close your doors. You don't get a say in the matter. So that was like, well, this is not cool. And then it's a bit of a low time for us. So we weren't ready for it, which is what we've learned from it, is that if it was to ever happen again, are we ready for it? We have continually kept online. So when they had the little lockdown back there, nothing changed for us. We were ready for it the second time. We were not ready for it for the first time because we thought life was great, easy, working for us. But what we never planned for was, what if it turns tits up pretty much? And then what happens from there is we didn't have contingency plans. Now we're a bit more going, cool, we've got these things in place so that our members aren't affected when these things happen. And it's to make sure that our goal of getting to this result isn't affected because of these highs and lows. It's just, this is the end result. And sometimes we get lows and sometimes we get highs. Cool. Anything to add on that?
Yeah. I think more so what you're trying to get at is that expect the highs, expect the lows. And when the lows come, acknowledge it, but then move on. I think, it's just like how you can experience all the different emotions that there are, and they're them to be experienced, but how long do you choose to stay in those emotions? So for example, if you get sad, that's totally fine. And that's actually healthy to experience sadness so that you can really appreciate the happy, but how long are you choosing to stay in the sadness? Are you choosing to stay in there for days, etc.? And I think that other thing is that, do you let a bad moment turn into a bad day? And I think that's a big one too, is that you don't have to let a whole day go to waste because it could just be a moment.
Exactly. Which is why we're saying take back the day. So the day that moment might upset the day, but then the next day it needs to be a new day. So that what Sheridan loves to do too, is she loves to put if she's experiencing an emotion, she puts a timeline to it. So she's going, cool, just in a bit of a funk today, I'm going to give myself till 4 o'clock. After 4 o'clock, I've got to move on. And approach it from that way. And it's really a great strategy to be able to do that too, because it gives you an end date to a shitty mood. Once you've done that, you move on.
But if you're going to do it, do it well. If you're going to be angry, punch some shit or break something, get your scales out, destroy them, but do the emotion well.
Yeah, exactly. And the last one we've got, which is the easy one, is the secret sauce, really. I love this quote. I love it because I made it up myself.
Thinker.
We've got a book that we love and we give out to a lot of people. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. Really great book, really easy read. If you get a chance to read it, do read it. Changed our lives. Really cool. Anyway, at the front of it, I always write the same quote, and I said, "Don't chase greatness. Be so great that greatness chases you." And there's so much power in that.
I don't think you made that. I'm pretty sure that's a Jim Rohn quote.
No, it's not. 100%.
I would bet you 10
Go
bucks.
Google it. You won't find it. Anyway, don't chase greatness. Be so great that greatness chases you. Okay. Now the theory behind that one, they're phoned out's rude. is go one more. It's to go one more. That's the whole purpose of it. Okay. The purpose of the day, taking back the day, is so that the next day is better. Take back the day, be better than it is. So when you achieve a goal, an outcome towards that almighty goal there, it isn't about living in the moment and basking and going, we made it to the 400 members. This is amazing. That is just the beginning of a new goal that's apparent. So we need to go, how do we do this better? What do we need to do? What's our next step from here? We can't live in that moment of 400 members because that becomes complacent. So all our things are in place to achieve the 400 members, have the property, have all that stuff. The question goes then, when you get it, then what? Complacency kicks in. So there has to be something else past it. What's the one more thing past that? So the goals are never finished. They just evolve and are better because we're taking back the goal. The object is always to be better than the day before. So if we achieve the 400 members and we achieve the gym, the new gym, we own the facility, we do all these things and we have these almighty milestones achieved, we need the next phase, which means it needs to be better and bigger and better. What is the next step for us? So go one more better than what you've done, regardless of your achievement. So a lot of you are doing the challenge at the moment. You're going to have these amazing results. You guys are looking phenomenal. It's so great to see. You're going to get to the end of the 8 weeks. And the curse of the 8 weeks challenges from most of the ones you see is everyone celebrates, I did 8 weeks. I can sit back and bask in the glory and eat whatever I want now because I starved myself for 8 weeks, which is stupidity at its finest. So what you want to do is go, cool, I've done these disciplines for 8 weeks. What's my next 8 weeks look at? What's my next 4-week block? What's my goal after the 8-week challenge? Have you worked that out yet? Have you taken the time to plan past the 8-week challenge? If not, there's still time to do the next step so that you can backwards plan your way back to current day to ensure that you do not become a statistic after doing a challenge, which is someone enters a challenge, has great results in a challenge, and then goes backwards to where they were before the challenge. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that there's a goal in place, that you can come backwards from those steps, plan the way through so that it never happens again, so that your life is enriched, it's powerful, it's passionate, it's purposeful.
It has purpose.
And it's exciting, and you have energy, and you have strength.
And this is how you go from literally living an average life to have an incredible life. And wouldn't you want that? Like you guys are doing the 8-week challenge, or you're working on your health and fitness to have an incredible health and fitness and body. We're not just doing this to be average, like have an incredible life because you can and you deserve to. So all of this is literally just coming down to give your life purpose so that you can, so that, taking back the day and seizing the day has meaning to it and has weight because there's a reason for it. Yep. And if you can't do it for you, do it for your family. And I think these are really powerful things. I love that you got to get out of the gates from the get-go. Yep. We don't look at our phones. We don't even have phones in our bedroom. They're out in the kitchen. We get up very early, 4:25, my alarm goes off. By 5:15 when we walk out the door, I've done 3 loads of washing. I've folded 2. I've had a shower, done my hair, makeup, and made the bed, got the dogs ready, all that kind of stuff too. So like we come out charging, so we're ready to go so that you do start on the front foot. Yeah.
And I was speaking to we call him the Wizard. He's also a sprinter back in his day. And he used to run a 400-meter sprint. And he was telling me today that his coach sat down and told him one day, he said, cool, the 400-meter sprint is won in the first 70 meters of your sprint. So 400 meters, he's saying, flog it as fast as you possibly can for 70 meters and then hang on for the rest. So full guns blazing, 70 meters. So get an early start, hard and fast out of the gate, and then just hang on for the rest of the race throughout your day. It's the same principle as your day. Push hard, fast, and early so that the day's been so well achieved that everything else towards the end of the day is irrelevant and the day will get in your way as the day goes on.
And the only side effects from giving this theory a crack is that you'll get more shit done.
Exactly. So I'm going to skim through the results of the steps really quickly. We've got get an early start. So get out the gates really quickly. Learn something new every day to improve yourself, to become the best version of yourself that allows your skill sets to grow. If you want a new job, then start learning those skills so that when the day comes and you're ready for the new job. You don't have to learn them really quickly. So take the initiative to forward plan. If your goal is to be a principal of a school by the time you're 40 and you're currently 35, you've backwards plan from 40 and work the steps backwards and see what you have to do to get there. So you know that the plan is laid out for you. Number 3 is sometimes days will get in the way of you. They will get away from you, but don't live there. Put a line through it, learn from it, evaluate from it, forecast the next day to be better, and have strategies so that if it ever happens again, you get through that quicker and it doesn't affect your day. Number 4, backwards plan, which is what we were talking about just before. Make sure you have a goal in mind and then work backwards from it. Number 5, be ready for your highs and lows. Be ready to celebrate the highs and be planned for the lows. And number 6, the secret sauce is go on more, have a goal, pass the goal. Do not rely on the goal to give you the stimulus that you're looking for. I can guarantee we'll get to the 400 members, we'll celebrate, we'll pop a bottle of champagne, we'll do something like that. We'll have these big celebrations, but it'll only last for so long. And then we will get bored of it. It won't have the same excitement as it did once we achieved it, because once you achieve something, you need something past it. Whew! Go one more is the end result of that. That's how you take back your day, and you compound your days like that over a period of time, over 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, and a lifetime, and it's a pretty powerful, purposeful life. Done.
So good. Well done. Do we have any questions?
We're here to answer if you do.
Yeah. Or you can message us later or something like that.
Yeah. I do like the people when they message us.
You do like him?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. He is handsome. I'm handsome in the girl variety, he tells me.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you guys are sensational. Again, thank you so much for giving up your time investing in you. And this goes towards your learning a new skill set for the day. So tick, well done. Yeah. Good job, because you invested in you. Happy Easter. I think that's all I've got. You guys are amazing. Nice butt. That's it. All right, guys. Love you. Have a good night, and we'll chat to you soon. Bye.